Hello there, it's David here from Dingle Lane, and today I want to talk to you about business development and how now is absolutely the time to be investing in that process and making it work for you as an organisation. Now you might well turn around and say, well, hang on a minute, David, you're an accountant, what are you talking about business development for? That's sales, isn't it? Well, of course, every business development person, if they're watching this, will be tearing their hair out and going, no, it isn't sales. It's nothing to do with sales. Well, related to sales, but it's not sales. And that's absolutely right. It's not sales. Business development is all about the creation of long-term value for your organisation out of your customers, your markets, and your business relationships. And that's exactly where your accountant plays an absolutely vital role, because what we can do is work with you to generate the data to help your business development team, or you if you're the owner, manager, owner, director, develop ideas, identify niches, identify potential markets, identify potential opportunities where you have relationships that can grow, you can have opportunities to develop new strategic partnerships to extend and expand your business, perhaps into areas that you hadn't necessarily originally thought of, but which the data gives you an evidence base from which you can build and say, well, hang on a minute, that's an interesting segment I hadn't noticed before in terms of how my business was working. And that's where having regular conversations with your accountant makes such a big difference. It's one of the reasons why we spend quite a lot of time with our clients, not just looking at the cash flow, which of course you'll know from my previous videos, I bang on about all the blooming time, cash, because at the end of the day, cash makes the world go round. But business development is the opportunity that then springs from that, because you can see where your cash is being developed. And if you follow the money trail, that then gives you really great ideas as to where to build your strategic relationships, where to invest your time, effort and resources, and where potentially to reimagine the nature of what you do. For instance, are you a haulage company or are you a logistics company? Is there a big difference? Well, yes, there is, because it's not just about the how you move something from one place to another, but it's just the fact that you're moving something from one place to the other. Take a look at large companies like Stagecoach, for example. Originally started out as a coach company, but actually they don't get involved in just coaches now. There's coach, there's rail, there's all sorts of things. And that's because they're in the movement business. They move people and things from one place to another. That's a very different kind of mindset to saying, we're just a haulier, we're just a trucker, we're whatever. Leaving aside the fact that you're never just anything, actually, because we all know you do an amazing job. But the critical thing is to say, what is it we're about? What is it we're thinking about? How do we imagine ourselves within that universe? That's why, for instance, we at Dingle Lane call ourselves accountants and management consultants, because the word accountant tends to be considered fairly limiting in terms of what people do, because people always think of accountants in terms of people who just do the compliancy stuff. Get your accounts out every year to the company's house, get your statutory tax returns off to HMRC. Thank you very much. Goodbye. See you next year. And of course, that's absolutely not the service that we provide to our clients. Yes, it's something we do because it's one of the outputs that we churn out as a set of accountants. But that's not the core of how we consider ourselves as a business. That's not the core of the service that we provide. That's merely a byproduct of, an incidental aside of the fact that we happen to be working much more closely with our clients to make the numbers work for them, make them understand the underlying core fundamentals of their business so that they can build their business development funnel through, which then leads on to building a sales funnel, which then builds on to generating business, which then leads on to invoicing, which leads on to revenue, which finally leads back to that wonderful word, cash. And you knew I'd get back there eventually, because, of course, that's the thing I always bang on about. So there we are. Now is absolutely the time. In fact, the ideal time to be starting a business development activity, they always say, was last month. Second best time to be doing your business development activity is now. now is the time to be thinking about it. And it's a planned activity. It's not something you can just jump in and go, oh, let's have quite, it's a process you've got to go through. It's a way of thinking that you've got to engender. You've got to develop the ideas. You've got to work with your people to work these kinds of things through. But it's a process that works. It's a process that has a really strong outcome based on commitment that you put into it and make it work. And the companies that really engage in strong business development are the ones that really drive their businesses forward and go to do some absolutely amazing things, not just in terms of the business growth and so on, which generally is a byproduct of the process, but just in terms of the whole service that they provide, the innovation they bring to the product development process, the service development process, the ideas that come out about new ways of doing things and solving problems that previously would have been considered insurmountable. So if I can leave that with you today, get started on your business development process. Talk to your professional advisor, come and have a talk to us and see what we can do for you to get that kind of level of thinking in, because the opportunities are really now starting to open up. We're in a period of time at the moment where the economy is really quite tough, and that's actually a really good time to be investing in making this happen, because the opportunities are starting to really now grow in developing and moving your business forward, creating new niches, new avenues and new ways of thinking. There's a real scope to make some significant changes to the way that you do things and the world does things now. And it's a chance for you as an organisation to really take control of that. So there's a thought for you. Have fun. This is David Nicholl from Dingle Lane. Nanu nanu.